Oh yeah, it's time, baby. CGC grade reveal, baby. Wow, that's right. Buckle up, ladies and gents, for the grade reveal experience live here on the 84th channel. Okay, cut the music. All right. Let me get my shit together because I have a very prestigious guest, you know what I'm saying, joining me tonight. Solid member of the community, my man, the one and only DS Comics.
What's up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for having me on, dude. I'm super excited. This is killer. Yeah. I told you that. Can't wait to see what you got on these.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. We had a crop of some pretty killer books. You know, this is the first time really that I've ever done the surprise grade thing. I had my buddy tape them up and the whole shebang. So, and like I was telling DS, it wasn't that bad to do it because I'm a man of little patience when it comes to things like this. But man, CGC turnaround time was like from the time they received it, like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks maybe until it's like at my doorstep. So I'm happy.
Yeah, that's good. And we were talking before, like my first submission was probably like, I don't know, 5 years ago ish. And the first couple, I think like 3 out of the first 4, I didn't look, and I was surprised when they came back, and it was exciting. But it gets harder and harder where it's like a losing battle I could never win, that I just stopped doing it. But yeah, we were talking like it's not something you want to do every time, but it's good to do it a couple times if you haven't, and it adds a new level of excitement to the party. So yeah, it's definitely worth trying. If you can hold out, it's tough to do.
Yeah, I think so. And especially in this case where I kind of have like someone with like a shared interest in it. Like, these are me and DS kind of both, he worked on the books. I got the books. So it's I think it'll be fun for the two of us to see how it panned out, and tell me if this is true. Like I heard someone say that because the turnaround times I'm used to dealing with is like 3-4 months. And I heard someone say that is the case with modern, because there's just a big volume of modern books being graded, and Silver Age is like silver and bronze is turning fast. Is there truth to that? There's different departments with different turnaround times?
In my experience, pre-COVID, when everything was, quote, normal, is moderns were always fairly quick, except during con season, it like doubled. But even then, it would be like, I don't send a lot of moderns in, but some I would send stuff in like early 80s.
Because I had heard, usually would hear the opposite of moderns go fast because they're easier to grade. They're not as...
well, yeah, but during con season, the moderns back up a little bit, and the value tier backs up a little bit. But the higher the tiers, the quicker it is because there's fewer books in those tiers. So I feel like value and modern back up during con season, but they're also quicker to grade too because they're all mostly decent grade stuff. Yeah, I think economy sometimes backs up, but it seems like a modern and value back up during con season. But it's 3 months. That's a very long time to have to wait if you're not getting CCS to press them. It's like a month turnaround or 5 weeks.
Yeah,
that's good, man. If you can get books turned around in 5 or 6 weeks, even, that's solid. So right now, it's even below that.
Right. I think I may submit books a little more often if they can stay consistent with this kind of turnaround time. So it's good. That was always a big deterrent for me. I'm like, I'm not going to see these books for months and da-da-da. So pretty good. Let me just take a quick attendance and get acquainted with the chat here. Chris Barrett in the house. Let's not forget Mr. Kachung, the cosplay kid. Hey, Ron, my man, D-Rump Comics, who I haven't watched it yet, but just unboxed a bunch of CGC slab books. D-Rump is like a slab master at this point. I need to get a count. You got a total count on how many slabs you got, D? I'm curious. Varangian, good to see you, sir. BV always has tremendous input in the chat, man. So I appreciate having you in here. Unruly Simeon, chat champion, chat all-star, JP, the budget collector himself. He still splurges on bangers though. Don't let that handle fool you. His collection has really blossomed, you know what I'm saying? If you ask me, this year, D-Runk was betting on the over-under of how late I would be. I'm going to take a little offense to that, D, but I think I did okay. NYC, the man himself, I caught it on the replay. I didn't catch it live, but oh, baby, if you haven't seen the original Art Hour with Tony NY Jr., wowzer, fireworks. Do you own any OA, DS?
I do not have any. Well, I have one drawing by a guy who did, what were they called? It's kind of hard to dig out. I'll pull it out. Yeah, I got one.
Yeah. Does that tickle your fancy at all of getting in? Because I've often heard you say that I'm not necessarily a comic collector, I'm an art collector, right? I think I've heard you say that. So I wonder if the world of OA appeals to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't. I've always said I'm pretty shallow. I like looking at the pictures, so I like the covers, and I like my art to have color. The black and white of the OA.
Oh.
I'm too shallow. It doesn't do it for me. I like the colors, blazing colors on my art. So, I'm not really into the OA. Plus, it's super, super expensive. I can get massive books for a fraction of the price of mid-grade sort of OA. But I've got a couple pieces here. These are from a guy who, Errol McCarthy, I think is his name. He was an artist who he was an illustration artist, and he did illustrations for like instruction manuals and toys and stuff like that. So he did some original pieces that I bought a bunch a while back. I only kept 2 of them. And these were from a Galoob toy called Mini Heads or something. You guys probably recognize it. So here's an original piece by him.
Whoa. Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. This is the Emperor, and you can see this is like sort of like his interpretation of what the instruction manual looked like for these mini heads. And it has, the mini head there and some little diagrams. And it's signed. And I think he does these for a job now. He'll just do a bunch of these and then sell them. So they're not real expensive. He's not like a well-known artist, but I thought they were super cool. And it's just in a Walmart frame. So I got this one in a silver frame. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it looks like he just used a pen and like colored it in. And this one's a little better, a little bigger. The Darth Vader mini head.
Oh, hell yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Nice, like pair piece. Yeah.
Yeah. So he had a whole set that he was selling, and I bought almost all of them except for a couple. I had an Ewoks one, and I think there was like a Jabba the Hutt one maybe, and a couple other Star Wars characters. I didn't get there was like some other ones I didn't get. Somebody else got them, but I was really happy to get this one. This is the only oversized one. And I wasn't sure if they were prints or original art or what. So I looked very closely at them, and there is some indentations, and some of the coloring is outside the lines. So I don't know if he did some tracing of it, but I mean, he put his pen onto it. But I mean, it's not like some big, high-priced pieces.
Yeah.
I just thought they looked cool, and so I bought them. And yeah, I don't know, they're probably not worth that much, and they're like, whatever.
I take it.
Cool. So that's all I got. But these are in color, so I'm down.
Yeah.
They're awesome. I like seeing other people collect them. It's not something I want to spend comic money on. I don't like it that much. But I'm always impressed when I see like Kavi or somebody pick up these awesome pieces. So.
Nice. I dig it, man. It's funny because that's your relationship with OA is kind of how I feel about getting into Golden Age collecting. Because when I think of getting a Golden Age book and what I have to cough up for it, I'm like, man, how many bronze keys could I get?
Yeah, right.
So I'm kind of playing that game too,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to pick the best way to have, and people collect what you like or whatever, but there's different ways to collect. But I feel like on a limited budget, the best way to collect is to stay disciplined and focused and cut all the fat off and just stick to the meat of it. And if you want bronze keys, then don't buy anything else unless you're flipping it. Just buy the bronze keys and don't have a pull box for 25 bucks a week, and don't buy other crap. Don't buy pants. You know what I mean? Save your budget, focus, buy the bronze keys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're on a limited budget, that's what I do. And I flip and sell a lot of books to fund my Golden Age habit. But that's why on PC, it's like 100 books, not even.
I can dig that. What's up, Murphinator? Good to see you, man. Comics for Thomas. Great to see you. Wolf Blitz, my man. Ruban Guzman. Tremendous name change. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Ruban Guzman is in the house. Mr. J. Hood Creative. Speaking of original art, one of the best original artists around. Yeah, that's probably the book that I'm most nervous about. The Batgirl, man. I really am looking forward to
the Tech 359.
Yeah,
me too. That has I mean, you know, it's got some issues on it.
There's some interesting ones that I'm curious to see how the Tales to Astonish, right, the Black Widow shakes out. There's gonna be some interesting ones that we have for you. Jojo, Commodores champion, good to see you. Just want to make sure I give all my buddies a shout out. Hi, Aaliyah Comic Bro, my man, Mr. G, Mr. Garrel. Great to see you, bud. I think this is the moment where my chat always farts out. Magic Lasso, Comic Mag Musings, Discovery Bay, Crazy Guy, Comic Song Too Crazy, and my chat froze. So anyone that I missed in that little section, thank you for joining. I'll catch you throughout the show. All right, man. So I'm not going to Better A Jim, what up? I'm not going to lollygag too much. Here's the box, right? Fan showed up at my place of work today. I've since tweaked that because I used to send them to my house and rely on like somebody to sign for me, and I'm like, send it to my office. Power move there. Hey, Thunder House. And again, grades were taped off by my buddy. It was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. 7 books that Mr. DS worked on. I got the screenshot. I don't know if you remember them all, but I took screenshots of your grade predictions once you worked on them. So
yeah, I've got it here.
Okay, cool.
I'm just going to scroll through that part of our chat as we go.
Nice.
And I think I gave you grade estimates on all of them or most all of them.
I think so. Yeah, I think you did. Except maybe the Brave and Bold. I was trying to see if maybe the Brave and Bold. I'm not sure.
Oh, I can give you a grade prediction on that now. That one had a sub crease and it had a lot of wear. I mean, it was pretty rough. Yeah. And it looks a lot nicer, but all the color breaking stuff is still there. So I think that one is in the probably like VG range, 4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah. That one had a big subscription crease right down the middle, pretty pronounced.
And it had a lot of other stuff too, but it pressed out nice, but it has a lot of color breaking and structural issues. So I think 4.0. If that's a 4.5, I'll be really pleased with it, honestly.
Nice. All right, what's up, Thierry? All right, so we're going to start with this one. This one was more of just a personal book that I wanted graded. You know, I know it's not a big money book, but big fan of Creeper, fan of this cover. Ditko doing this thing, one of the few Ditko created characters. Let me give you guys a closer look at it. Okay. I think on this one, I was predicting like pretty good. I think I was thinking like 7 or 8 for this one.
Yeah, I said 7.5, but here's the one thing. I think it's going to be in that range. The one thing about that has been frustrating with me for CGC lately is I'm sending in white pagers and they're coming back off white to white. And I sent in a Superman 233 with blazing white bright pages, and they gave me off white to white. And it was not. It was white. So this one I think has white pages, and it should be a white pager. I think 7.5 white pager on this. So anyway, that's my prediction. They've been screwing me on the page quality stuff lately, and they've been switching them. When I sent JP's in, when I pressed for him, I did 2 CPRs. I cracked out a white page, and it came back off-white to white. And I cracked out an off-white, and it came back white. So they flipped. One went up and one went down. So other page quality thing's been annoying me lately, but 7.5 white is what I predict on that.
Okay. I'll say maybe a little more generous. Let's say 8. I'm hoping. Let's get into the 8-sphere, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. That's Pat Wall's guess. 8. All right. Let's see this, and then we can go through the graders' notes later. So let's see here. Fumble with this tape a little bit. Ooh. All right. We got a
nice
8.5. Yeah.
Off white to white, right?
Oh, right. Off white to white.
I'm telling you, it's a white pager for me. I looked at it, man. I mean, I went through the book page by page, but yeah, hell yeah, 8.5. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's a beauty right there.
Real good.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a wall book for me. Fantastic.
I think I sent you a little video of it after it was pressed, showing you it.
Yeah, I did on this one.
It looked sharp. It was nice.
It's so crazy, like the improvement that a clean press does on some books, man. It's amazing. Like, even though it came back, purple, which hurt me. The
Silver Surfer?
No, the Submariner.
Oh yeah, Submariner one, yeah.
Which was but it was so crinkly from some kind of moisture damage. The press smooth it right out. It can really do wonders, Let's see.
Well, I'm very happy with that 8.5.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's a win. Right, like the owl card, right? Don't they just hold it up to it and it should be simple as that?
They don't use that anymore because each publisher during different eras had a different shade to their paper when it came off the press. Like late Brian Marvel, but like Silver Age Charlton, came off the press, it was already beige. You know what I mean? So they stopped using the owl card, and they basically just say whatever it was looking like when it came off the press when it was published, that's considered white for that book, for that publisher, for that era. So some of them are different shades, but I'm telling you, that one that creeper was white as far as I was concerned.
Yeah. We got Conan the Barbarian, #1. Origin and first appearance of Conan. I'm surprised they don't say first appearance of Conan in Marvel, right? Because it's not his first appearance, right?
I don't know. I'm not a huge Conan fan.
Right. He definitely had a magazine run for a while, which I think is Marvel. I thought Marvel published those, like Epic Magazine. I don't know.
Sure. You have to ask. Probably TJ would know that. Or Cobby, he has some of that stuff too. He's in the chat.
Yeah.
I think I had this one at 6065.
Okay.
I think it had some non-fixable stuff, but it looks much better, but I think it's a 6065.
Yeah, one of the biggest things was right in the corner box. It's not showing up too great, but there's a pretty good creases in there, and they color break.
Yeah, there's a couple of small stains on it, I think, too.
Dog ear in the corner. Yeah, little stains in the corner. I was expecting mid, I was hoping 5.5,
Well, we'll go with 6. I think it's a 6.
Let's go 6. A lot of 7s from the chat. 6.9 from D-Runk. Let's unveil this baby. Conan, #1. Oops. God damn, he should have made me flaps.
Yeah, I just use Post-it notes. I put a Post-it note on the front and on the back.
Yeah.
6.0.
Okay. I'm happy with 6.
What's the page quality on that?
White pages.
All right.
Baby.
Whatever. That's good. Yeah, white pager. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm good with 6. Hell yeah. This is one that the showcase, because there's an assortment of keepers and sellers. Showcases a PC keeper. Conan's a seller, y'all. So I'm happy with that, man.
Yeah, pretty much right where I thought it would be. But I'll tell you, I think it was probably 5.5, 6 before, but it looks way better now. It's a much better presenting, but I think it's pretty topped out with some of the issues it has. But yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it has that little, like, I don't know if that's grease pencil, whatever, but it says, I think it says 84. Does it say 8.4 on it? It's 8 something, written in like a little silver pen over the word Conan the Barbarian. Anyway, what do you call it? He was 2 for 2. Better Ray Jim was 2 for 2, killing it. All right. Oh, so far we're doing pretty good. No real whammies yet.
Yeah, no surprises.
Yeah.
So far, nice, predictable, good stuff.
Let's bring a controversial one to the table, man. Let's bring the Tales of Suspense to the table. Oh, you can kind of see that.
Yeah, let me all right, so when I looked at this, I'm going to tell the chat exactly the message I sent you.
Yeah.
I was cleaning and pressing them and giving them updates before and after and telling them what I thought. And I was giving pictures and little quick videos of it after it was pressed. And I got to that one, and here's my review that I gave to him. I said, "Hey, are you free? I'm looking at your TOS 52, and I want to talk to you about what I see." So you can go ahead and tell him, but
yeah, or you could probably describe it even better than me. We hopped on the phone, had a quick chat about this thing, and this book did. Well, I'll just tell you that I knew that the 3/4 of the spine was totally split, and it was hanging on for life.
Yeah.
By the bottom staple. So
yeah,
I wasn't sure what to make of that. So as a clean impresser, a guy who has to handle the book, because every time I touch the fucking thing, I'm like delicately. So when you have to work on something like that, what goes through your head?
Well, look, I have never detached a cover or popped staples from pressing. That's never happened with my pressing. I'm very careful. But when you get into the risky area is where one staple is already popped or there's a big split. That becomes very risky to press because the split's already there. It's very easy to continue going with heat and moisture and pressing. So a split of that magnitude is very risky to press. And if it's only attached to one staple, it becomes risky to press too because it's got like a swivel point, and it has a lot more give on one side than the other. It's risky when a staple's popped or it has a massive split. That one, the split was so big, I think you're maxed out at like 2.025 because of the split alone. The rest of the book, it looks great. You would never, this is going to be whatever grade this gets is going to be the best looking copy in the world at that grade of this book, guaranteed. But it's maxed out at a very low grade because the split is huge. It's like 3/4 of the spine. So I think 2.025 is where you're at just because of that split.
Right. And based on that and knowing the ceiling that the split puts on it, I would go into this one hoping that I would at least get the 2.
Yeah, so the risk of pressing it is what's the reward? You're not going to get any grade bump. It's just if it fully splits, you're going to end up with, a 1.0.
Right, because you kind of described it well of like if the pressing is to improve like the condition of like the wrinkles and the imperfections like that in the cover, which if you're already stunted at a 2, all that stuff is already counted for in that 2 anyway. So you're going to take that L even if you got some wrinkles out. There's no reward for it.
And honestly, it's pretty good. It doesn't have like a ton of pressable wrinkles and dents. I mean, it's decent otherwise already. So, I mean, it's not a bad looking copy. It's just, and you can't even really see the split. I wasn't sure it was split until I pulled it out of the bag. Yeah. So I think 2.025 is where you're at.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope we hit 2 because my thing is like, unless it's like a really old golden age banger, I don't want a 1 point anything really. I
had one like that with a split, but it was trashed everywhere and I had chunks missing. I got a 1.8.
Yeah.
Well, you're definitely at 2. There's no way it's lower than 2.
Okay. Let's pop this baby out. We got some 2.5s, some 3s. Kavi said 2.5. Okay. And we got the 2, y'all.
2.0, yep.
We got the 2. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and it's the best looking 2.0 that there is, probably
yeah.
any book, honestly, because it really looks good.
Yeah, it presents
split too, because it's not like the book has a lot of wear. It's in great shape except for the split. It's kind of weird, but whatever.
Yeah, it really does present great. Stan Lee, Larry Lieber on this bad boy. Jack Kirby cover. First appearance of Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff. Hell yeah.
Looking copy, man.
Yeah, not too shabby. I don't really see, this one doesn't really grow on trees. I don't see this one floating around too often. So I'm happy to have that one. And I got it for a sweet deal. So. All right, let's check out another one that I've been very excited for. My Silver Surfer upgrade. My Silver Surfer upgrade. You know, I have my dear to my heart and very rare 1.5 green label, only one on the census. Thank you very much. So, and it's good to see it with the appropriate back cover, because that's why my other one has that green label, different back cover attached. So this is my Surfer upgrade, baby.
Yeah, so this book, square bounds are more difficult to press. They take a little more prep. You can't obviously just throw them in the press because it crushed the square bound, and the staples are underneath the cover. So there's different ways you got to do it. But so I had to, and they're thicker too. So this one was a little bit of a different type of press than your other books. And, you know, square bounds, I always have trouble grading square bounds because I feel like some of the defects, they don't grade the same way because they're defects that are associated with the square bound nature of the book that wouldn't, you know what I mean? It's so, but that one seemed pretty squared up. It's pretty decent. I mean, it's got some wear. I think you're in the 4.0 or 4.5 range on that. I think it's decent. I think it's a 4.5. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty solid copy, honestly. And the spine is good, and it doesn't have any massive issues. It's just got an accumulation of some small stuff. I think it's a 4.5. I think maybe 5.0, but that's outside. I'm going to go with 4.5 on it.
Yeah, it's got that pretty significant like spine wear that you get with these square bounds, you know, and they're like a quarter of an inch inward, like from the way that these fold out, you know.
But it doesn't have any splitting. The spine doesn't have any splitting. It doesn't have any like that. You know, those split so easily. That one doesn't have that. It's a good structural copy, and it's nice and squared up. Yeah, I think it's a really nice copy. I think it's a 4.5.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be so happy to have this baby presented. My other one is Beat to the Street. So I'll go hopeful with a 5. I'm seeing a lot of 5s in the chat. Let's cross our fingers for a 5. And let's bust this baby out. Surfer number 1, y'all. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's about as good as I could hope, because it didn't look like a 6 to me. No way, you know. But that's good. I was hoping it would be in this range.
Yeah, I think I told you in our chat or our texting there that it was a 4.5, maybe 5.0.
Yeah.
So yeah, that really turned out well. I'm happy with that 5.0. It was probably, when you sent it to me, if you would have just sent it straight in, I think it was probably a 3.5 to 4.0 because it had wrinkles, it had bends, it had folds. I mean, it was I had a lot of stuff to fix. So it came out really nice. There's no structural wear, but that spine is in nice shape. There's no splitting, there's no tearing. It's good.
Yeah, man. That whole center, all that real estate in the center of the book is just smooth, pristine. One of my favorite covers. Very, very happy.
And I think the back is pretty clean, if I remember too. I think it cleaned up.
There's like a little stain there, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. What's up, backseat driver? Good to see you, man. Toppy is family, unlimited.
What's the page quality on that? Off-white to white?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Nice, man. Congrats. That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm happy for that one. For sure. PC edition right here.
So far, so good, man.
I think so. Yeah, no real like stinkers or anything. That's good. That's good. What else we got? This one. You know, this just goes to show how much of a weasel my local LCS. People have heard me kind of little bash my LCS. It's really just the manager guy who he's just a bum, dude. And I remember when I saw this on the wall, and in fairness, I bought it quick. I didn't really inspect it, and that's on me. But I remember buying it. He had this on the wall. And I'm like, oh, cool. Because, I never really see this one in the wild. I'm like, what kind of condition you think it is? He was like, oh, this thing's, practically near mint, And he kept on selling me on the quality of it and stuff. And I gave it a quick view, and I don't know. It was I was just rocking and rolling. And upon closer inspection, and once you looked at it, I'm like, wow, can you believe that he claimed that this was a high grade?
Yeah, well, what I told you, I was like, hey, I'm on the New Gods now. We'll see how it comes out. This is before I pressed and cleaned it. And I was like, it's around a 4.5. And I described a lot of the wear and issues with it. Yeah. And you said, ouch, my LCS was calling that an 8.
Yeah.
And we had a little back and forth like, dude, it's not even close to an 8. Now, I could probably bump it up from a 4.5, and I think I eventually put it at a 5.5, a beautiful looking 5.5. But it's not an 8, dude. That's not even close.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not. So that's funny. What's up, boy who had 7? We're like 1, 2. Is this only the third one in? Yeah. This is the third one in, dude. No, fourth one in. I'll do a recap for you, Matt, shortly. New Gods number 1. Let's see how this baby shook out. Let's get a mid-grade, huh? Let's get a little mid-grade.
I think 5.5.
Okay. Oh. This tape drop's crazy.
5.0. Okay, yeah.
5. We got a 5.
It's not bad. I mean, it was lower, and it definitely is much improved. But yeah, you can see it's not 8. Your LCS had an 8. That's not 8, dude.
Yeah,
it's got stains and tears and nothing massive, but it's got enough stuff. It's got a long color breaking crease on the front. Also, it's tough to see anything because that speckled pattern on the cover, though. But
yeah, I think that's really what because from a quick look, man, nothing really jumps out at you. But you have to do a closer inspection because that background is just wild. It's practically like when you stare at them shits and you're supposed to after a while see a sailboat when your eyes cross. It's one of those things, man. So
yeah, the 3D pictures that used to be in the mall.
Yeah,
store in the mall with the 3D pictures.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, I was thinking 5. It went from a 4.5 to a 5.5, but 5.0 is in the ballpark. So no real surprises. I think it was improved. But yeah, there's not an 8, but it's a nice copy.
Yeah, and it's one that I planned on keeping this one, unless because one thing I noticed about this book is unless you have it in high grade, it doesn't command as much as I thought it might. For Kirby first appearances and stuff, but still happy to have it.
Well, that means it's a good book to get in because it's Kirby, it's Bronze Age Kirby, and it's still cheap, overlooked. So now you don't want to go out and buy something after it's already hot. So this is a good one. I've been looking for a copy of that. The only problem I have is buying one online, whether it be eBay or auction or Instagram. You cannot see anything with the pattern on that cover. You just can't tell, man.
Yeah.
It's tough if you don't have to look at it in hand.
Yeah, so. Tough to buy online, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's even tough in person unless you really take it out and inspect it closely. But
yeah, that's a good point. This is probably a good book to jump into. It will, yeah. Varangian says it'll get hot. I think Unruly and NYC concur. Yeah, man. And especially if DC and Marvel continue this tit for tat thing that they do a lot. I mean, if Eternals gets rolled out and does pretty good, you're probably going to see some. I think weren't they spitballing or writing a New Gods with Tom King involved or something like that for the movie, for the big screen. So
that's a Kirby, and it's an early bronze too. It's a 15 center, so it's 71. So it's an early Kirby, and it's still affordable. I think that's a great book to pick up. And yeah, I mean, if you can get anything #1 Kirby issue from early Bronze Age, I mean, you can't go wrong, man.
Yeah, a lot of first appearances in this baby too. Your first Orion, Light Ray, Metron, Highfather, Calabac. So, boom, New Gods. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the mid grade. The 5. All right. let's mosey on over to that Brave and the Bold, that Teen Titans. This one, to me this one was tough for me to like gauge a grade because I didn't know like how harsh they were with the subscription crease, and it had some like weird wear here and there. The spine has like a bunch of little ticks on it. So,
well, a book length crease, like a subscription crease, and that one was a pretty hardcore subscription crease. Yeah, it was permanently there. I mean, it's flat now, but that maxes a book out at a 6.0. So you're already at a 6.0 from that. Now, that book had a lot of wear. It looked almost like somebody had crumpled it up into a ball and then flattened it back out. It had a lot of ups and downs and hills and valleys all over the cover. It has wear on the spine, so issues on the corners, and it was pretty ratty mess. It cleaned up nice, but I mean, there's permanent color breaking stuff on there, and that sub crease, that's a hard crease. So it's much better. I think I had a similar book like this, a Golden Age LB Cole, that I thought was like a 2.0, 2.5, and it cleaned up, similar condition, and it cleaned up nice, and I ended up getting a 4.0 on it. This reminds me of that book in the whole process, and I think this has gone from like a 2.5 to a 4.0. So I think this is a 4. But it's much better than it was when you sent it to me. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because I remember how it looked when I sent it off, and it looks much better. So let's do it. I'm gonna go with your opinion on that. Let's see if we got a 4 on this baby.
I would love anything higher than a 4 would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Let's check it out.
All right, man.
Yeah, that's pretty good, this book.
Yeah, so I mean, basically a good thing to learn from this is a book length crease maxes you out at 6. So if you have a sub crease or a crease that goes all the way across the cover, and it's color breaking, you're at 6.0, and then you just work down from there based on the other defects. So really, it just basically is 1.5 points below the sub crease level with all the other stuff. So yeah, not bad. I think that worked out well.
Off white to white. And for those, that aren't in the know, that's that first appearance of the Teen Titans, a.k.a. the team up of Robin, Kid Flash, and Aqualad. Boom. 1964. It's an oldie, man.
Yeah, I mean, Silver Age book of 4.5 of a key. Yeah, that's a keeper, man. It's a good one. I mean, I don't know if you're keeping it, but if you aren't, the person that buys it'll be a keeper for them. It's a keeper for somebody.
What's the check mark? What do they mean? I'm hearing them mention a check mark. Maybe that's not related to this.
CBCS has a check mark that they put on their books. If it presents better than grade, they'll put a check mark by the grade.
Oh, I've heard of that. That seems silly to me. It's like it's graded higher. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you have like I don't know, if you have a defect on the inside that limits the grade, but the outside is sparkling, or if the issues are on the back and the front is sparkling, they'll give you the check mark because, yeah, it's a 6.0, but it presents from the front much better than a 6.0. So basically all the defects are somewhere else. They'll put a check mark on it.
Like you think maybe like that Black Widow book might get like a check mark because it looks so,
Yeah, that would get a check mark. Yeah, because I mean that thing looks like a 7.5 or an 8, honestly.
Yeah, like you would have to see the graders though. So look at that and be like, why the fuck is this a 2?
Right. Yeah, that would get a check mark.
Yeah. We all know how DS feels about CCS pressing.
Yeah, quick synopsis. I'll run through it for anybody who's not familiar. The last time I used them, and I was already thinking about pressing my own stuff, buying a press. That was the last straw that broke DS's back. And then I bought the press and ordered it myself. I sent them 15 books. They tore the covers off 3 of them. A Tech 400, a near mint Tech 400, which is the first Man Bat. They tore the cover off of that, and it was detached. They got a 4.0 detached cover. And it was like a 9.2 copy, man. It was freaking nice. Tech 405, First League of Assassins. They tore the cover off of that. They gave it a qualified 9.2, cover detached. So, I mean, it was a 9.2, but they gave that one qualified because the cover's detached.
Do they take ownership of the tearing of the covers, right?
Well, the The third one, I'll tell you in a second. The third one was a Golden Age pre-code horror book. It was Chamber of Chills 18, the barbershop horror scene. And that was like in the fine range. It was a nice copy. And they tore the cover off and split the cover. So basically they turned a complete fine range PCH book into 3 pieces. They called me and said that happened. They're sorry. Sometimes it happens. It's rare. We're really sorry. We'll reimburse you for the value, whatever. And I was like, all right. I wasn't pressing. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I guess I could see that happening sometimes. They were like, it's an old book. Sometimes the paper pops on the spine. It's rare, but it happens. I was like, all right, whatever. And so then I got after they got shipped from the grading, I saw that 2 other ones, those 2 techs that were both near mint, had the covers pulled off. So I called them right away and I sent them a nasty email. But 3 out of 15, 20% of my submission of keys, they destroyed. And that was the last time I ever used them. I would not recommend anybody use CCS. I've heard nothing but problems. There's a thread on the CGC boards specifically about CCS and their lack of pressing and cleaning. I think CCS sucks. I think they just have too much volume and they're rushing too fast through the stuff. They don't have people doing what they're supposed. Look, you can't. It takes a minute to set up a book for a press. You know what I mean? You got to put paper in the inside cover. You got to cut little spots for the staples. You got to get a backing board for the middle and make room for the staples. You got to adjust the pressure, the heat per book. The moisture is different. Not every area needs to be. Sometimes you need. There's more to it than just throwing them in a press and slamming it shut and crushing paper. It's not. So yeah, that's my experience with CCS.
Yeah, man.
And I've been doing it myself for over a year now. I haven't even come close to detaching a cover. I'm a beginner. They're supposed to be professionals, and they did a 3 out of 15. Hasn't happened once yet.
And they seem to take their time, man, because it was my the Savage Tales, that first man thing. I remember I dropped it off at the Boston Fan Expo, and or was it Baltimore? I think it was Boston. Either way, it was 8 months till I got that sucker back.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. I waited like months for this submission of nice books. I mean, a Tech 400 and a 9.2 or 9.0, that's not a cheap book, man. That's like $1,000 book. Yeah. Tech 405, it was a 9.2, but they graded it 9.2 qualified because they tore the cover off. That's, $500, $600, $700 book or something. Waiting months for them to damage my books and cost me money. Man, that's terrible, man. That's the worst experience I've ever had with any company or person since I've been back in the hobby for 6 years. That's number one. That's the worst experience I've had. I mean, people complain about eBay. My CCS experience puts eBay to shame. Like, there's nothing on eBay that's ever been as bad as what my experience with CCS is.
Yeah. I know Hialeah had a bad experience with them, too. They destroyed his books.
Yeah.
Jaguar with a similar story to mine. Yep, we both sat around for 8 months, man, to get a book back. What's up, Two Gun? What's up, Whack Comics? Yeah, and lastly on that, you said that on that first book, the Golden Age one, they reimbursed you the value.
Well, here's another lesson to learn. Yeah. I spent those all under value tier, so I put $200 on all of them.
This is the first time I didn't do that because Geek Aficionado was telling me, put the right value, put the right value.
Well, I was trying to be cheap, and they were all nice condition, and I'm like, there's not anything going to happen. It's not like they're about to fall apart where I have to worry about it. They were all, like, the lowest grade book I had in there was like a 5.0 or something.
So they only gave you what you claimed the value to be?
Well, yeah, but listen to this. They only told me about the Chamber of Chills. And they said, I'm like, all right, well, the other ones are done, or they passed on to grading department. They made it through safely. They're like, yeah, everything's through safely. This is the only issue. So they didn't even tell me about the 2 until I found out by reading the grader's notes and saw the grades.
Yeah.
So they said they would reimburse me for the value I listed. I can't argue with that. I mean, I was an idiot and listed them at $200. That's my fault for trying to be cheap and save a penny. So it cost me. I don't do it anymore. Yeah. But they were like, and normally what we do, we'll reimburse you and then we'll keep the books or the book because it was only the one. I was like, no. That's my book. That's a rare book. I want it back. You can reimburse me and send me the book without having it graded. And I will take the 3 pieces of the book back that were 1 when I sent it to you. I still want the book back. I sold it to JD for like $50 or something.
Yeah.
But I still want you don't get to ruin my book and then keep it. I want the book back too. So I
Yeah.
got
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
The other two they didn't tell me about. I just found out and contacted them. So they went through and they went ahead and tore the covers off and then graded them and didn't even tell me.
Yeah.
So then I just threw them on eBay. I had a Tech 400 in a 4.0 because it was maxed out because the cover is detached. So it was a beautiful looking.
A 9 something, right?
Yeah, so I put it on eBay. It sold for like $120 or something.
Yeah.
And then the other one, they reimbursed me $200 for each. The other one, the Tech 405, was a qualified 9.2, I think. I put that on eBay and it sold for like $70 or something.
Yeah. That's sad with the 400, man, because
Yeah, dude.
Sweet. Yeah. I like
I
that.
remember telling Bub, I don't know if he's in the chat, but I was talking to him and it was an eBay auction. I won that book raw on eBay for like $250. And it was like an oddball time that auction ended, and it was a good looking copy. And when I got it, I'm like, man, I scored. This is a nice one. So I sent it to them to get it pressed, and it was minty. It was in the 9s, and they fucking destroyed it, man. So it's not an easy book to find a high grade of anyway, and you're certainly not going to get one in the 9s for $250.
It sucks. There you have it, man. Beware of CTS, man.
So yeah, here's the thing. I don't chintz on the values that I put them under now. I might fudge it a little bit because I'm not using CCS. I don't think the grading department is going to tear a cover off of a near mint book. I'm not too worried about it. But, if you're sending stuff to CCS, there's a significant chance of damaging. So, but I'll send moderns in, like a modern tier or a value tier where everything's 200. I'll throw a $400 book in there and I'll just list it at 200 to get it in the value tier with the rest, because I feel like it's sort of safe with the grading department, but I still feel iffy about it. I don't do it very often. I used to just chintz everything and lowball everything.
Yeah. So this is maybe my 4th submission, and that's what I always did. I'm like, feeling like I'm winning, like, shit, I'm not going to tell them it's worth whatever. Just put the 200.
Yeah. I'll use the right tier now based on the values of the books, but I'll usually, my stacks aren't even. I'll have a stack of books where like 10 books, 8 of them are $200 books and 2 of them are like $600 books. I'll just throw them in with the 200s and I'll say they're 200. So I'll fudge it a little bit, but before I was fudging them all. I don't do that anymore. But I feel like the grading department's pretty safe. It's not perfect. I get it. Everybody, people complain about CGC, but the grading department's pretty reliable. It's the pressing, the CCS, I would not let them anywhere near my books anymore. That was the last straw. The straw that broke DS's back right there. You heard it here.
I'm with you, man. Welcome, Hot Rod the Rican and Vita Slatter. Good to see you guys. You just came in for, as far as I was concerned, the main event book. The last main event book, y'all. What up, Air Spider?
Yeah, I'm nervous about this one.
This one is interesting because I feel like I bought this one online, and the guy told me he sold it to me as a 3.5, and I was like, okay, and from pictures, I'm kind of taking his word on it, but I'm like, that looks pretty good. And I remember I busted it out. I was very excited to have it, and I was on a stream with it when I unboxed it. That first Batgirl, and I remember as I was showing it, and I'm like showing it to the chat, and everyone's like, dude, that ain't no one's 3.5. I'm like, yeah, right. It must be at least a 4.5. And I was like, and then even on the more I'm trying to scrutinize it, I'm like, this might even be higher than that. And DS kind of like reinforced that with me too. I'm like,
yeah,
I think that I did pretty good considering the, what the grade prediction was to the guy who sold it to me raw, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it looked good. You sent me pictures. I was like, yeah, that's better than 3.5, man. And then it has that one issue that.
Yeah, I was worried about this bottom staple. Even when he sent me the first picture, I'm like, is that a detached staple? Because you can see it ripped.
And it is, and the other one is on there, but I pressed this and I was very gentle with it. I didn't quote smash it as much as I could have, but I got a lot of stuff out. There's still a couple issues. I think it could improve looks wise for a press, but it's not like the top staple's rock solid either. And I felt like after a certain point, the rewards were much lower than the risk. So I felt like it was a good idea to stop and just leave it as good as it was. And it's improved. It probably could be better, but I don't think it's worth the risk because of that detachment. So I feel like the grade is pretty decent on it. I don't think it's worth the risk to mess with it anymore. So that's where I was at with it. Some of these things are judgment calls, and it's based on experience. And I have some, and that was the call I made, and I talked to you about it. And I feel like it's good, and I wouldn't mess with it anymore. And I think it's decent. I mean, I'm not sure what to expect though. You can have a half detached cover maxes out at 6.0. I don't think that's a 6.0, but I think it's a 5.0. I think it's a 5.0.
I hope so. I'll be over the moon if I land a 5 on, because I paid, even if it was like, I even got a good deal considering if I bought it at a 3.5 price. So I felt good about the price I got into the book at, and 5 would like really exceed my expectations of the book. So hoping for that 5, y'all. Let's see. And I'm happy to see it blue because that thing was like freaking me out. I'm like, I hope that doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was sure. I looked through it carefully. I was sure it was a blue label. But, yeah.
All right. Let's see what the tech got. What up, 36 Chambers? Pat Wall. It's goddamn tape, man. Oh, shit, son. Dude. Damn.
Hell yeah.
Yes. 6, dude? Hell yeah.
Dude, so you're fully maxed out on that grade because here's the thing. We can learn a little bit about detachments. A detached cover, fully detached cover maxes out at 4.0. You add 2 points if it's only half detached. So if it's only popped at one staple, it maxes out at 6.0. A detached centerfold maxes out at 7.0. A half detached centerfold, add 2 points, it maxes out at a 9.0. Now I know people think a book with a half detached centerfold should never get a 9.0.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, it sounds high, but that's how they do it. So fully detached cover, max is 4.0. Half detached cover, max is a 6.0. So yeah, I think that's nice, man.
Oh, I'm psyched on this. This was a great surprise. I was not.
If you look at it, there's a couple things that are probably fixable. It's not perfect, but it's maxed out. I mean, it's a 6.0. That's as good as it's going to get. Now you could mess with it if you want and fix a little bend or a dent that I didn't get. But I mean, that's it, man. You're not getting any higher. But I told you it wasn't perfect, but it's the grade wise, it's perfect. But so
Off-white pages. Oh yeah, it's so sharp too.
It's just very nice. Yeah, I mean the detachment was clean too, so it's not like any tear. It's popped, and everything else is cool on the spine. So yeah, it's nice, and great colors on that. It's always annoying when there's creases or color breaking stuff on that cover for me because of that nice purple shade. So that one is a nice clean cover. I felt like it's a good copy.
Hell yeah, man. So let's for those who joined midway in or anything, I'm gonna recap through the books with the app that I've been avoiding for the past couple weeks. I'm gonna go into the CGC, pull up the graders notes as we recap the books. Let me click this button here. Okay. So let's start with the tech 359. The graders notes on this one was cover detached, bottom staple, light bends to cover, light cover tanning, light creasing to cover, light pieces out to cover. What's that mean?
That's probably near the staple where it's popped.
Light pieces out to cover, moderate spine stress lines to the cover.
Yeah. So not bad. The only thing on that would be pressable from those notes at this point would be the light bends. There's a couple light bends but yeah, we already discussed that. So the light pieces out to cover. I don't know. Maybe there's a chip off somewhere, a small little chip or something. I don't know. I mean, it looks pretty intact when I had it. So yeah.
So it means light pieces missing from cover? Like
yes.
Okay, because that wording was tripping me out.
Yeah, that it's probably where the staples popped. There's probably little chips of paper missing at that spot because they were tore off by the staple.
Let's look at the Conan. Another 6.0. Light foxing on the cover. Light staining to the cover.
Yeah.
Moderate creasing and moderate spine stress.
Yeah. So creasing usually, when they put creasing, they usually means it's color breaking or it's not going away. If you see bends, they usually are fixable. If you see creases in the grader's notes, it's usually not. It's not 100%, but for the most part.
Because there's a stain right on the hand of this guy holding the sword. You can kind of see a round stain there. The foxing, I guess I don't know. When they say cover, that could mean front or back cover, right? Or does it always mean front? Because I don't I have a hard time catching it on the front, but I guess on the edges.
I don't know that they're 100% consistent with their usage of these terms, but anything on the front cover, you usually can't see until you open it and look on the inside of the front cover. So if they're boxing or tanning, you usually can see it better on the inside of the cover. Yeah. Usually that doesn't show up on the front of the cover. You usually have to open it up. But I don't know if they say cover, how consistent. Their terminology is not used 100% consistently, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, you just could try to interpret the best you can what the grader's notes say. It's not always, it's not, the grader's notes are not a bastion of clarity. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a guide that will help you find your way, but it's not going to show you clearly what's exactly. So I don't know.
Right. And it's different humans each time, each book, right? It's not a machine process.
Right.
What's up, Bonafide? Even though I think it'd be interesting for the day of getting a book on some kind of machine, a smart machine that can scan a book and really, computerize and standardize the grading. You think that's ever even possible for something to be that smart? I would think it would be.
Well, this gets into, you have to have true AI because all these situations are different. And right now they can't even get fucking traffic lights to work properly in the world. You know what I mean? Like they can't tell if a car is there or not there or turning. The traffic lights are retarded. The Tesla autopilot has got all kinds of problems, and that's some super high-tech machine. They got issues, man. I know there's a lot of movies and sci-fi stuff and documentaries about AI. We're not even close, dude. In my opinion, we're not even close to AI. I wouldn't trust a machine to grade my books because each one is so unique that the problem with computers is they can't judge new situations. They're very good with pattern recognition or handling pre-programmed things. But if they see a situation they've never seen before, computers don't know how to handle it because they haven't been programmed how to do it. So I maybe one day, maybe, but I kind of like the human touch on it. I'm not this, professional grader, third-party grader hater like a lot of people. Yeah. I mean, you could see my grade predictions and what we got is pretty close. I mean,
pretty close.
They didn't screw you on anything. I think they were generous, if anything. So I don't want a computer sending that creeper back and it's a 2.5 because the light reflected weird and it hit the laser camera and the AI and it couldn't figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I get it. But, because computers would have better eyes than people. They can zoom in times X1000, and like.
Yeah, but is that a good thing? You want them zooming in X? I'll tell you want to do something fun. Take a pic, get a 9.8, get a 9.8 that you have on the slab. Take a picture of each corner with your phone.
Oh, right.
And then go into your gallery, open it up, and zoom way in. And it will look like a disaster area. It's not even close. You'll be like, 9.8, man, this thing is destroyed. Yeah, you look closely enough at it, it's trashed.
It's kind of fun to rely on like when I go with the on-site grading and do like the air out method, like I did with my X-Men. It's always good to be like, caught him slipping. So I guess it'd be tough if the computers were fucking on your ass.
Yeah, I mean, computers don't have to take a lunch break. They don't have to take a nap. They don't have to sleep. They just you send a 9.6, you're never gonna get the air out from AI.
Air out those white pages. Light creasing to cover, light spine stress. That's about all they mentioned here.
Yeah, that's a nice copy.
Okay, very happy with that one. Tales of Suspense. Let's see what this one got. I was curious what they would say for this one.
And to be clear, I don't know if I did not press this one at all. For those who are tuning in now or late, this one I didn't press because it had a massive split.
Yeah, and there is stuff like, especially at the top, trade dress and stuff that would benefit from a press, just like appearance wise, but it wouldn't improve the number, and you'd be playing with fire a little bit on it, just for presentation. I think.
Yeah, I mean, splitting on an old book. I mean, that's old. That's 60s. That's like over 50 years old.
Yeah.
A split that size, that's no joke, because if you don't have a split, you can apply heat and moisture and pressure to the paper, and it's already together. It's going to stay together. But if you have already something split that bad, it can split more. It can elongate. It can creep further down very easily. Doesn't take a lot and that is mostly split. It wouldn't take much to pop the whole thing, and then you're looking at a 1.0, maybe a 1.5.
Yeah.
Most.
This is one that I was going to be genuinely bummed if it came back like 1.5. I was really hoping for that too. So almost complete spine split is how they worded that. Cover detached top staple. Moderate bends to the cover, which is like up here. Moderate cover tanning. Moderate creasing to the cover, and moderate spine stress. So 2.0.
That actually sounds like a lot, but I'll tell you, if that didn't have the split, I think that's that book's like
right?
7 or something, 7.0 maybe even. I don't know, man.
Yeah, especially if you would have been able to press it with the spine intact, that would have all those creases that they mentioned would have been gone. Okay, so we got the Brave and the Bold with the kind of healthy spine, subscription crease rather through the center, light bends to the cover, light cover tanning, light staining, moderate creasing to the cover, moderate spine stress. Yeah, there's just because there's no way they're gonna have to they would call that a moderate crease, right? Of the subscription thing.
I mean, it usually in the grader's notes will say subscription crease. Does it not say that at all?
No, they don't use the word subscription crease on anything. No.
Well, I guess it's a moderate crease then. I mean, that's a subscription crease. Even if that was not a book that came as a subscription, it's a subscription crease. But it's top to bottom all the way down. It breaks color and paper fiber all the way down. So, yeah, I mean, that book is that crease is, I don't know if they would call it a moderate crease. I mean, it's about as bad as they come, right? It's top to bottom. So I don't know.
So, yeah.
The last time I sent it like that, it said subscription crease front cover.
Just goes to show these jabronis over at CGC. Later, Thunderhouse, good to see you. Kachung, killing it. I can see a job in the 23rd century called a grade runner who chases the AI incorrectly graded Silver Age.
I love it. The grade
runner. Shit.
Put him through the Voight comp test.
The New Gods, the 5.0 New Gods, which I'm happy that it came back 5. If you told me the day that I bought it off the wall, if you told me it was going to grade a 5, I would have been like, what? But when I came back to reality.
Yeah, that's cool. One your LCS told you was an 8.
Yeah. It's got to be an 8. Light cover tanning, light staining to the cover, moderate creasing, moderate foxing, moderate spine stress. Thanks, Bonafide. It's really a funky cover, man. The way he colored Orion is like pretty gnarly.
It's a cool book. It's one of the books on my radar that I'm always on the lookout for a nice high grade copy. Now with me, these aren't books that I would keep in my PC, but I get no less enjoyment out of chasing down and hunting books that I'm going to flip. It's the same excitement for me. I still love getting them. I love flipping through and reading them. And I will, once I get one of those, I'll flip it, but I'll be able to say I owned a New Gods and it was in this grade and I'll remember reading it. it's still the enjoyment of acquiring the book. It's just that I don't keep them. I would flip it or sell it. But yeah, man, that book, I have yet to get a copy of that book at all because I just am never sure of the condition because of that speckled gray tone type cover. It's tough.
One of the coolest trade dresses like out there. I love it.
No, it's a sick looking book. I really like that book. I look for it all the time, man. I just can never find one that I feel like is a good price for the condition. And I want something like an 8, 8.0, 8.5 of that at a good price. It's tough, man.
Yeah, you're right. And the last one, the other crown jewel. These are the two crown jewels, I mean, right here. These are the ones that I was really excited to add to the PC. My Surfer and the Tech, man. Very happy. Happy with the 5 on the Surfer for sure.
I'm most proud of that one because it's a square bound, so it takes a little more effort and process and procedure to press it. It's not the same. Other books, you just throw them in the press. This book you can't put fully in the press, and in my press you've got to set it up so it stays level because that's hanging out because the spine is not in the press, it's hanging on the outside, and you've got to buffer it so that when I close the press it doesn't make a big crease where the edge of the press is, and I have to buffer the other side to keep it level, and then if it's thick I have to flip it and do it again, and yeah, it's difficult. I take a lot of pride in the 5.0 on that. That's my favorite one of this return is that Surfer.
Hell yeah. We got a new term on this one because creasing, spine stress, light staining, light tape stains. They said light tape stains.
I don't know about that. I don't know where they are.
So that implying that there was tape on it and tape was removed, right?
Yeah, I guess. I didn't see any tape on it, and I didn't see anywhere it looked like tape was taken off either. So I don't know.
Yeah, tape stains. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's weird. But I put a lot of effort into that book, and I remember telling you it was a 4.5, maybe 5.0. So it went on the high end of what I hoped we would get on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the thing with square bounds I think is so important is getting a nice squared off spine because a lot of them look crushed because people press them improperly, some of it, and some of it's just wear. That one's nice and squared up. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's good. And those books split so easily. The spine split and they get stuff tore off them and the cover splits on it. And that one is not like that. So that one's, 5.0 or not 5.0, the spine and the presentation of that book is top notch for a Silver Age square bound. So yeah, nice copy.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. Even though I love my, my little green label one, it's got charm to it, my 1.5 green, but I'll be really happy to have this one just sitting there at a nice respectable grade with the blue. Very cool. Kenny Diaz is going to pull you into the dark, murky world of pre-code horror collecting. I don't know, man. I'm going to go kicking and screaming, dude, because I feel like I would get into, if I would get into Golden Age, which I've done a little bit, but as far as like the stuff I browse for, I would pull the trigger on some like detective comics first.
Well, what happens, if you get into Golden Age, if you progress that far and you decide to go down that rabbit hole, you instantly reach this massive dilemma where you want books that cost a certain amount. And then you also want the other stuff you're used to, the silver, the bronze, that's a certain amount. And you reach this dilemma where you're like, shit, I cannot afford to do both. And the only way to do the gold is to sell off some of the silver. You really gotta like gold to do that because you could sell that Surfer for like $650 and buy a nice gold. But do you want to get rid of the Surfer? That's the dilemma, and you really have to fall in love with gold over time to the point where you're willing to sacrifice other stuff because very few of us have unlimited budgets. And the Golden Age rabbit hole, it doesn't have a bottom. It just keeps going all the way down to Action 1. You know what I mean? You can buy a book, a $75,000 book at $300,000. I mean, you can just keep going in gold. And
they're all big. It's like from the bronze and silver collecting, it's like every book is like big, it's a big key prices.
Yeah.
But they're just, I don't know if you call them run filler. They're just based on the age, they're all just like, it's just if you're buying keys all the time, big keys all the time.
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing about collecting Golden Age is you are sort of you're liberated from having to go after runs, because you're mostly going after covers or a first appearance or a character. You're not filling out a run because it's impossible to do for the most part. So you're going after covers that you like, rare books that are just hard to find and they're a challenge. It's liberating on the grade too, because now you can get a 2.0 or a 3.0 and be thrilled that you have the greatest copy in the world of a hard to find book. With silver and bronze, there's always that next. I can maybe get a little more money. I can get a point. I can get a 7.5 or an 8.0 or an 8.5. You don't have to fight the grade wars in Golden Age, and you don't have to go after runs. So it's much more liberating, but not on your pocketbook. It's on your wallet. It's not liberating, but you sort of have freedom to go around collecting much more freely without feeling like you have to stick to want lists and runs and stuff like that.
Because I remember when I bumped into you at Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
And I think maybe you had done all the buying that you were going to do at that con, I think, and you just had like a couple, like 2 books, 2 slabs. But
the one slab I think I was selling. So right. I bought 1 book at Baltimore. 1.
Oh, okay. So that explains it, because I know there was like just one that you showed me, and I'm like. And he could have, with what he showed me, he could have cleaned up with like a dozen or something, Bronze Age keys or whatever.
I mean, I don't go to a lot of cons, but when I go, I try to bring at least 5,000 with me. And so that'll tell you, I spent it all in 1 book, basically, is what I did.
Yeah. So. Right. So you have to be happy with quality over quantity, right? And because I love sorting through all the stuff I've got, you just got that one purchase.
Yeah, and that 1 book I bought, that was the only copy of that issue in the whole con. Nobody else had one. So it's not the rarest book in the world, but it's kind of cool. When I bought the only copy in the whole place of that book was that one I bought. As opposed to if you're buying an AF-15, every dealer's got multiple copies. If you're buying like a Hulk 181, they're all over the place. Not to say there's anything wrong with those books. I mean, I used to go after them too. I had a nice Hulk 181. But when you find that one Golden Age book that you've been looking for, it's been on your radar, you only see it a couple times a year, and you find the perfect copy and it's your entire budget. But I mean, that's it. That's the book, and it hits you in the face, and you're like, there it is. That's what I came to the con for. And
did you know it was there when you got there?
No, I mean, I saw it early. And then, Baltimore is set up like a maze. It's not easy to find your way around that place.
No. Terrible. C2E2 and going to Baltimore, C2E2 was way more like, it made more sense the way it was laid out.
Yeah, I mean, Heroes Con's laid out like a grocery store. They have signs hanging from like, aisle 7, and you can just go right up and down the aisles. But Baltimore's like a maze. So there was this collector. It wasn't a main dealer. It was like a collector dealer. Those guys that bring their collection to the con that they will sell, and they have some other stuff. So he had only a small amount of stuff, and he was like stuck in the middle. I came upon his area, and I was talking to him about stuff, and he had that 1 book, and we talked about it, and I looked at it, and I'm like, let me think about it. And I walked away for like maybe 2 hours, and then I was thinking about it the whole time, and I made the decision, what am I coming to the con for? To get something special. That is it. So I'm like, I'll go get it. What the hell? I couldn't find his booth again. I didn't remember the name, so I couldn't look it up on the chart. So I'm just wandering around aimlessly for like another 40 minutes until I finally came upon it again, and luckily he still had it.
Yeah.
That guy only had like 10 books, but he had the one I bought. He had a Tech 31 there. He had like big books. Oh, he had like 10 books, but they're all big books. I bought the smallest one he had.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to a con for something special. And for me that day, that book was special, and that was it. So that was my con. I don't need to pick up a lot of books, but some people like to hunt and score deals and get a whole short box full of stuff, and that's special. Everybody's got their own way of making a con special. And for me, it's one awesome gem makes a con for me.
Hell yeah. Magnetic says, like a siren song, the book called DS back. Varangian says, is there non-rare Golden Age books? I'd say like Dell is an example of that, right? Those aren't that hard to find, and a lot of them are in the Golden Age, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, for Golden Age, if you look at, we'll just talk about like census. If there are less than 20 on the census, it's rare. but they're still around. You'll find them if there's less than 20. If you've got like 100, 75 to 100 or more than 100, it's common. Now, it's not common compared to silver or bronze, but for gold, if there's 100 on the census, it's considered a common book. And most of the superhero stuff, the Batmans, the detectives, the actions, stuff like that is common-ish. I mean, there's 100 or so on the census, and they're around. You can find them. But even the common gold is still rarer than any of the Silver Age stuff. But yeah, I mean, the stuff I collect, probably every single book in my PC has less than 75 on the census. And most of them have less than 30 on the census. So I like collecting rare books. Now, they're not impossible to find, but you got to wait. You've got to look for them. You've got to be patient. And sometimes it will take you years to get the book because you'll miss the auction and it might come up 3 times a year and you'll miss all 3 and then you have to wait till the next year. So,
yeah, right. Yeah, it's a good point from Varangian. As a European, Golden Age books are more of an oddity there, right? Because they more started showing up in the Silver Age. So, yeah, especially in German countries. Yeah, I don't know how much commerce was going on for those 1940s books, man. Hey, German comic shop, I got some great Hitler covers for you.
There are a lot of Golden Age books that are Canadian editions or UK editions. There's a really cool Golden Age book that has an Irish edition. I've never seen it on any book from any era.
Yeah.
This one has an Irish edition. And, it's on the CGC label and they're out there. There's not a bunch of them, but I could probably track one down to buy because I know somebody who has one would probably sell it, but it's an Irish edition. And it's a Golden Age book. It's a crime book. It's got a really cool cover. And it's Irish edition. And I've never seen that in any book. So they're out there. There's Australian editions of stuff too. So
sweet, man. What's up, Andy? And my boy Geeks. Good to see you. Varangian, if he had a time machine, he'd get a Cap 1 signed by Hitler. That'd be worth something.
That would be killer.
Oh shit, Varangian's the man. Good stuff, man. As far as my Golden Age pursuits, there's 2 Golden Age books that are kind of on my radar. I wouldn't say they're short term, but they're short-ish term. I just got a few that I want to knock out because I want to shift my focus into Batman because I've really done I've done a pretty good job with the FF, Silver Surfer, and X-Men stuff that I've been wanting to get. But Batman, I need some work on. And there's 2 Golden Age Batman books that, if the timing is right and the condition is right and all that, I'd be willing to go in on a Batman 11 and Batman 9.
Which ones are those?
So 11 is the one with the trading cards all on the cover.
Yeah.
Next Batman punching, which I think first edition just got one of those, which is cool. I can't wait to see him unveil that. And Batman 9 is the first use of that classic Batman and Robin with the spotlight on them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And the cover that's been swiped a bunch of time. Alex Ross has done it a bunch. So, because those Golden Age keys are they're something else, But
those books are not hard to find, but you need to decide like what grade you want, what presentability, and you need to be patient and pick the right one.
Yeah.
And really tough with books that don't come up every day. That you need to. Sometimes you'll see the one, you're like, oh, perfect, I can afford this one. But you might have to pass on it because it's not quite as presentable or it has a chunk out or some other thing that's not cool for you, for your collecting style. And patience is key, man. You just need to wait and you will eventually find the right copy, but it might not be the first copy. And that's a mistake I made when I first got into Golden Age. I knew there was books I wanted. I would buy the first copy that came around. And that's a mistake, and that's something that happens when you first get into it. But
because you don't see them that often, right? When you finally do, you're like, oh shit, let me just jump on it. Or since you don't have that many options, you say fuck it, right?
Yeah. I mean, they don't come up all the time, so you might see one every couple months of some of these books, and so you jump on the first one, and then you're never fully satisfied with it, but it saps your motivation to upgrade, so to speak, because do I really want to lay out cash for another one? I already technically have it, even though it's, you know what I mean? And then it's
for something else. I've heard you say that before of like, I really dig the upgrade model or idea because once you have it, you're going to be more inclined to get something that you don't have any copy of, right? I could see that.
So yeah, my advice for Golden Age, because they're rarer, and there's more condition issues because they're older, is decide what level of presentability and condition you want at a minimum. Like, what's your range based on price and what's acceptable to you? You know, for a certain book, it might be a good looking 2.0 to 4.0 would be what you're looking for. And the next one that comes up might be a 3.0, but it has a massive stain on it. Well, that you're going to have to pass on that. And it's tough and it takes discipline because you really want the book and you haven't seen one in a while and you can afford this one. But I'm telling you, the best thing to do is pass on it. When in doubt, pass. If you're not sure, then it's not the one. You'll know when it's the right one, when it's the right copy for you. If you're not sure, if you have any doubts, that means it's not the right copy for you.
And the one thing that's unique to getting into Golden Age is the idea of, you know, sometimes like being okay with restored in some cases, which to me now with the age of books that I'm getting, it's blasphemous. I'm like, I don't want any 1960s books that, you know, are green or purple. I'll get a blue. But with the gold, I think gold collectors, it seems like, you know, it's not as taboo to make that concession for some of these books. Is that?
Yeah, and it depends on the type of book too. I think like timely collectors who collect like early Caps and Marvel Mystery Comics and early Human Torch and Submariner stuff from the Golden Age, some of those books are legit hard to find and very expensive. And sometimes the only way you can afford one is to get a restored copy, or a copy that's maybe missing the back cover or has a mirrored centerfold or has some resto on it. They're just hard to find and they're really expensive. So yeah, sometimes you're limited that even the low grade ones are going to be thousands of dollars. So if you want one, you're just going to have to get one that has an acceptable amount of issues like resto or incompleteness or something. And you just have to decide for yourself what's acceptable to you as a collector for your collection. Yeah, and it's just every person's different. But, you know, if you're going after pre-code horror books, they're really cheap compared to the rest of the Golden Age. So you don't have to, I don't settle for resto or incomplete on any of my books because the ones I'm going after relative to other Golden Age books are not that pricey. Yes, they're pricey compared to some Silver Age stuff. They're like Silver Age key range. But, you know, none of them are more than a few grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's expensive, but I mean, you can get the AF-15, the Action 1 of pre-code horror for, you know, $5,000. Yeah, $5,000's a lot of money. But if you're into pre-code horror and you can get your AF-15 for $5,000.
But the big grail of pre-code horror for around $5,000, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just sold Chamber of Chills 19, which I think is the iconic. That's probably arguably the AF-15 of pre-code horror.
The glass, the chick with the wine glass.
Yeah, it's a skeleton hand holding up the glass, covering half her face, and you can see, and she's smoking a cigarette. Yeah, classic cover. It was used on a Misfits album in the 80s. I just sold a low-grade raw of that for around $3,000. And that's like an AF-15 for pre-code horror for $3,000. I mean, that's expensive, but I mean, not relative.
What does that startling robot cover go for? Is that like this? Because I always think of that book as that's got to be some big money. The way it seems, it's very desirable.
It's very desirable. That one's common though. There's a lot on the census. I have a 4.0. I would say that runs between $1,000 and $2,000 a point, basically.
Yeah.
Just depends on the market, the auction. I mean, they swing wildly, but if you're looking for a 4.0, you would want to set aside between $6,000 and $8,000, probably somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, it's a big book. Yeah.
I mean, there was a 9.6 sold like 6 months ago for $36,000 for a 9.6 of the Bender.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cheap, man. I mean, that's more than we have, but for that book and a 9.6, it's from 1948.
Man, where the hell has that thing been stored all this life?
Right? It's not even a pedigree or a file copy or anything. 9.6, $36,000. I mean, that's cheap for what it is, but
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, 9.6 ASM 1 would be, I don't know, $200,000, $300,000.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I don't know.
There's a few of those kind of books that, and they're probably like, for me as not one who's very delved too deep in it, they're probably like the pop hits of the Golden Age world is like that Bender cover, the and what's that? I'm not even sure what series it is, but it's the one with the dude. You don't see his head, but it's the dude holding the headless woman's head with the axe.
Yeah, Crime Suspense Stories 22.
Yeah.
That's an EP book.
That's an awesome book.
Yeah, that is a Johnny Craig cover, and that's like a top 10 pre-code horror book. Yeah, that's a good one. That one's pretty common. There's probably over 100 on the census of that, which is common. But yeah, I mean, that's a big book, and that's a legit top 10 pre-code horror level book, and you could probably get a 3.0 of that for $2,000. You know what I mean? That's not, you're not getting a 2.0 of a Tales of Suspense 39. You're not getting a 3.0 for $2,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not getting a Jim 83 in a 3.0 for $2,000.
No.
So it's cheaper than a lot of stuff that people might think, but it's still pricey. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know my boy Man Cave has a copy of that one kicking around his place. You could go the Mag Musings approach. Says he's not smart, but he's resourceful. He's going to sell both kidneys to get a grail.
That would work. I mean, you could easily get pre-code horror grails for both kidneys.
Yeah, man.
Kidneys go for a lot on the black market, I think. I saw Turistas, man, and they were, you know what I mean?
Modern Marvel would take a kidney for 1 out of 1,000 blank cover with sparkles. Damn. Put a little more value in my man's kidneys, will you? I think last one might be implying that you murdered somebody. He said, "Who is that skeleton?" Not what is that. What do you got?
I don't even know where I got this thing, honestly. But he hangs up in here, and he's got articulating joints here.
There you go.
No, I don't even know where I got this or what it is. I mean, I don't even have any idea. I've just had it for so long. It's just I don't know. I don't have much decoration. I have this. I have a Tron movie poster, and I don't know. I got this poster from a Wizard magazine or something from the '90s. I got a Thor print and that Darth Vader thing I showed earlier. So I don't have a lot in here. I'm not like a decorator guy.
Yeah.
My comic room is about business. It's not about all my books are in boxes. Like, this is a workplace. This isn't where I don't
thrills here, man. Just gets right down to it.
But I got a Tron movie poster up there.
There you go. You know.
And that's a legit poster. That's an actual like first print or original movie poster for Tron. I don't know what you call it.
Send it to CGC. They grade posters, right?
They do. I'm not sending it.
No, I've never seen what is there like a number? I haven't even seen what a slabbed poster looks like.
I don't know. I mean, I see it on their website, little pictures. They have labels. I mean, it's like a big ass long label because they're big. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I might have to Google that sometime and see. But all right, man. Well, fun time, man. You knocked it out the park, dude. Great. I pretty much am happy with every grade that came through. Awesome. You're pretty tight on your predictions, man. So you clearly have an eye for the grading. It's always, I've sent you stuff a couple times now. It's always a good experience, man. I appreciate your professionalism and your knowledge and all that, man. Appreciate it.
Man, and I really appreciate you trusting me with your books. And I tell people I don't press for everybody. I'll do it here and there for a friend or something, like I've done a couple times for you. But it really means a lot to me that when you're willing to trust me with books that I know are very important to you, it means a lot to me. And I really try to treat them with even more care than I treat my own books. And I try to do the best I can. And I really love when it works out. But yeah, I really appreciate you trusting me with them. And I'm really happy with the grades. Yeah, surprises. And some of them were higher than we thought, but nothing was really lower. And it was a good return, man. I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, man. A success.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Pleasure shooting the breeze with you, man. And chat has been hanging tough all night. Appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. And till next time. And, keep an eye out. You might see some of these on the on the buy it now scene, man. So let me know. All right, guys, have a good night.
All right, later on.
Bye bye.